Hello everybody and welcome to Letterboxd Book Club. My name is Claire.
And I'm Mackenzie.
And today we will be discussing
Twisted
by I didn't know how I was going to say it, by Emily McIntyre, because I was going to say the third book in the Never After series, but it's actually technically 4 because
and she might keep going.
we did it the other way around because Wretched, whatever, it's supposed to be next. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get there eventually. But yes, we'll be talking about Twisted, the Aladdin dark fantasy retelling, not quite retelling. You know what we mean.
You know who it be.
You know who it be. I love that. Before we get into the blurby blurb, Emily McIntyre is a responsible author and has provided a list of triggers pertaining to this book. But of course, if you've already read the book, you already are aware of these. But in case you're just listening for the sake of listening, this is the Twisted content warnings. Graphic sexual scenes, graphic violence, child abuse, domestic violence not between MCs, murder, torture, death of a character, terminal illness.
Wapapooey.
What? Where did that come from?
I don't know how to end, terminal illness.
Just terminal illness. Awkward silence.
Wapapooey. Alright.
I feel like I don't think it's terminal illness really. Yeah.
Everyone's got cancer.
In my personal opinion. What?
Everyone's got cancer.
Everyone. Yeah. It's just your lifestyle, whether or not in an accident. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Everything is made to kill us. Who cares? Live your life.
Exactly. You're gonna die one day, so.
Existential crisis right now.
I will start the blurb.
Please.
She's his diamond in the rough. He's her worst nightmare. Yasmin Karam, daughter to one of the richest men in the world, has never known strife. So when her beloved father falls ill, she is determined to make his final days his happiest. His last wish, to see her married to a man of his choosing. Except Yasmin's heart already belongs to someone else, a servant, a street rat, a man her father would never consider worthy. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, Yasmin strikes a desperate deal with her father's right-hand man, Julian, not realising he has his own twisted agenda. Julian Faraci has one goal: become the most powerful man in the world. He's built a future from broken bones and faded bruises, never caring who he hurt along the way. But when his mentor falls ill, he finds himself on the verge of losing everything, and he'll stop at nothing to inherit what is rightfully his, even if it means forcing a woman he can't stand into marriage. Yasmin is a brat who speaks out of term, and he's the villain of her story, but he decides she'll be his, no matter what it takes to convince her.
Love it. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions, Kenzie.
I loved this book.
Wonderful. Love this for you. Tell me why.
Because there's a 36-year-old man.
Okay. He's actually, I think he's 40.
I thought he was 36.
Oh yeah, 13-year age gap.
Yeah, because she's 23.
Wait, my notes, 13-year age gap, question mark.
Whereas I'm 13-year age gap, drool. 36 is the highest, I'll go.
Sure.
Until I'm older. Anyway, yummy. He's delicious. She's alright, I guess.
You described it really well. You said, because I asked you, I suppose giving you a little hint about, like, there were scenes early on what I thought were delicious, of course, and you said it's very scandalous, and I feel like that's a really nice word to describe this book as well.
It is scandalous, yeah.
It's really cool.
Starts off a good slow burn.
Appropriate
slow burn, yep.
Yeah, an appropriate burning time.
Yeah, resolved within the book, and not in the last 2 pages, I guess.
Sure.
Fairly appropriate plot, I guess. Some of it was a bit far-fetched.
Translates well.
Yeah, it translates well.
What was far-fetched, Kenzie?
The lamp.
The lamp. Yeah, no, it was it was a pretty, this lamp has been lost for centuries and it's worth $1 billion. So, yeah, I get that.
And we're in Egypt digging
just
holes.
Farming it in Egypt, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tragic backstory. Probably could have done without. He could have just been an asshole for being an asshole.
Sure, he just wanted to be greedy. He could have just been greedy without the abuse, I guess.
I did only... Okay, I'll wait till you do your thoughts, feelings, emotions.
Okay, alright, cool. Yeah, my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Yeah, for a moment, I forgot about the whole lamp aspect in, the OG, Aladdin cartoon. And so until it started to weave into the plot, I'm like, oh, so that's what they're going to do with it, because that was, the whole point of finding the lamp. I just thought they were just going to leave it out and, the diamonds were, Yeah,
enough.
For sure. And then I was a bit confused. I'm like, where do these diamonds fucking come from? But, yeah, no, it makes sense. Translated well, I feel like. Though I do have a little qualm that the ending, the final, fight, encounter, conflict, it was very much Hooked. Yeah. And that's all I thought about while I was reading it. I'm like... Ugh. But I suppose how different can you really be if they're pretty much similar, mobster vibes?
You know what I just realised? Sorry. The next one we're doing is Twisted, yeah?
This is Twisted.
This is Twisted. I'm so confused.
Wretched.
Wretched. Okay.
Or Wretched.
No, I
whatever.
lied.
Oh?
Go on. I was
okay.
going to say Twisted like the hurricane.
Oh.
Like a twister.
Oh, no.
No, sorry. I'm an idiot.
It's okay. We all have our moments these days. I liked how, like, Isabella, the snake, was kind of utilised as well, but it was a bit fucking gross eating the whole ass body.
Also, like, I have a 23-foot python.
Yeah, just for funsies.
I was like, why?
Yeah. There were moments where I found it hard to believe for Yasmin and Julian's relationship, because, like, he did conspire to kill her. And, like,
Hot.
Alright, that's foreplay to you. That's the first date.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just found it...
If I'm not in fear of my life, you're doing it wrong.
Right, let's go tell Luke. But I suppose, you know, it's the development that he then, you know, did what he needed to do in order to prove that he actually loves her.
But again, is that not Hooked?
Yeah, true. And that's the thing, there was a lot of similarities to Hooked, but I suppose, as I just said, like, if you're both having the similar, like, mobster theme of running a business, but then doing everything under the table and that's just a guise for all your illegal criminal activity, then whatever. Although I just realised now that Yasmin, her, I suppose, turnaround into loving Julian a bit easier, because there was a moment where she had to recognise that her father would have been a criminal as well, and it would be hypocritical of her. So that just made that aspect made it a little bit more believable for me, I guess. But no, ultimately I really enjoyed it. Scandalous, delicious moments. Agreed, didn't really need, I think, the abuse in the end, because I feel like in the Aladdin, just like cartoon Disney movie, it just seemed to want to be greedy and just rule the world, and it could have done that. I don't know. I suppose they need reasons to feel sorry for these villains, I guess, as well. But otherwise, too much like Hooked as well. But I did enjoy it.
Good. Okay, I want to talk about when I started reading, because the first chapter is Julian.
Yes.
I was like, oh, like, I thought that was going to be Jasmine. And I was like, oh, they've changed Jasmine to Julian.
Okay.
But then I got to Yasmin.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, you could have tried a bit harder. And then I was like, oh, is Julian Aladdin? But then she had Aiden, and I was like, I'm confused. And then I was like, oh, Jafar, because I forgot about Jafar.
You've never seen the Disney version, like the cartoon version, animated version, but you've seen the live action version.
Yeah. But you think I'm paying attention to their names?
Just looking at the Jafar's pretty face in the live
also,
action.
I've only just realised today that Genie
Yes. Oh,
is
Kenzie.
Genie.
Kenzie.
Yeah. But I knew that Ian was Iago.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Just the way he has a squawk, like voice
Yeah.
description. Yeah.
Yeah, so props to me for knowing that little
tidbit.
little detail. Yeah, bet not a lot of other people figured that one out.
Love it for you. Hey, but that just means it's more of a surprise for you.
Yeah.
And then there's this random Darren character who, like, no one gives a shit about. Rocks up at the end.
Let's talk. Sorry.
Sure. No, I was just going to say, do you have any other qualms? Any qualms?
Yeah, they'll come up though.
Okay.
As we go.
Cool. Alright, other than just the ending reminded me of Hooked so much, that was my only qualm.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Plot stuff.
Yasmin's father is dying.
Lung cancer.
He has 2 months to live.
Rip.
Rippity rip. That's fine. He's like, you'll get... So, and he owns Sultan's.
Which I like
Yes.
like how they used it as a business
which is
company.
a diamond company, I guess.
Amongst the diamond mining and selling industry.
Yeah, so they have jewellery and stuff, and they're doing like above board stuff and below board stuff, so I feel like that's any diamond industry.
I think that's, any successful injury that is dabbling in criminal activity. That's a front. Yeah. Oh, and there are moments where they're trying to talk about making synthetic diamonds to make them cheaper and all that stuff, just to make more money. And I love that little aspect of extra greed in corporations.
Yeah. Anyway, and he's like, Yasmin, you will get Sultans and you will get the Empire, but you have to marry well.
And then the man gets to run the show.
Yeah, the man gets to run, which is stupid.
but
also, like, she's also never, like, shown interest in the business anyway. And she just wants to take photos.
That is...
Which is a legitimate thing, but...
Yeah. I mean, photography is great, but if you're a billionaire heiress almost, like, surely you can do something better in a way. No, respect photography. And Julian's been working for Sultan since he was like 13 or something.
Yeah.
Like long enough, and he's just weaseled his way up to the top to be Ali's right-hand man.
Yes.
I think they said that he actually killed a lot of people who were ahead of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how power hungry he is.
Yeah.
Because he came from nothing, from an abused household, came from nothing, sold his family's laundry business.
Yeah. Realised he could murder people.
Yeah. Yep. And Isabella could eat them.
Yeah.
And then he...
To clean up his mess.
Exactly. And then he just rose his way to the top. And so he's, like, vying for that. He's hoping that Ali would, like, give it to him as well.
Yeah.
Hand it over, because he knows how the business runs and how the outer business runs and all that type of stuff. And he has a very ambitious idea in order to expand the company into a different sector, industry sector, which would be antiquities, and that's where this lost relic lamp comes into play as well. It's all his idea. But yeah, Yasmin, you know, you think about it, yeah, she never really showed interest until he was dying.
Yeah, until she's like, oh no, I need to marry. Which also, like, yeah, a little bit backwards. You need to marry a man to get the fortune. But
yeah,
I want to talk about, I know they were in America.
Yep.
But I feel like
they're in New York.
This could have taken place anywhere.
Sure.
Like the way it was, described and stuff. And then Julian was Italian, and then like there's also Italians
for whatever reason
in New York anyway. But
oh, that makes sense now. Okay. Yep.
Stereotypically.
Yep.
But still, I was like, this is confusing. Anyway, I want to talk about Yasmin.
Okay, we can talk about Yasmin.
Okay, so she is in love with Aiden, who is a servant who works in the mansion.
He's the Povo kid.
And they're fucking whatever. And they've been fucking for years. Cute. Anyway.
Puppy love.
But she's like, because she needs to marry, and she's like, her father would never approve of Aiden because he's a servant or whatever. She's like, no, I can't tell him, like, blah, 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 he's dying, blah, blah. It's like, is this not the perfect time to tell him? Because he's just going to die.
Yeah.
Like,
whether his opinion matters or not, he's going to be dead in 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I just didn't like that, plot line of, I can't tell him because he's dying, like...
Yeah, very, like, an unnecessary secret.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, yeah, because then you're digging yourself a bigger hole as well, because what are you going to do, if you don't tell him and you have to marry someone anyway, and then, you're just going to have your little side piece?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I suppose there was the guys that Julian had with her as well is, like, they'll be marriage in name only, and then she could fuck the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, it would have saved a lot of problems as well.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, if Ali didn't approve, he was just going to be dead soon. You just wait it out, and then suddenly it's yours.
Yeah.
I mean, or they could get married even before he died.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Julian probably would have done something, but still.
For sure. Like, it would have thrown the whole thing out of whack, I guess.
Yeah.
You need that. Yeah, you need to get Aiden out of the way as well. I did like the fact that, Julian, like, hired him on the spot, though, to get away from Yasmin, but send him off for the lamp, because, then that translated quite well from the animation movie as well.
Yeah.
But Yasmin, she just wants to take photos.
Yeah.
Photography. It's like...
Also, she doesn't know how to drive a car.
Because she's been hidden away, because she's like, $1 billion heiress daughter.
Yeah.
Like,
her dad's just gotten her driven everywhere. But, in a modern world, if I had a driver everywhere, that makes me more sus than if I just drive myself.
Yeah, for sure. It's less conspicuous if you drive yourself.
Yeah.
And, she doesn't, like, cook for herself. She even explains, like, how frustrating it is. I think she's yelling at Julian what it's like to be, like, hidden away, not being able to do anything for yourself, because that's what her father organises everything for her. And also,
I imagine how frustrating that is, like, one, not being able to do it for yourself because you don't actually know how to do it. It's like, imagine trying to, like, imagine you're hungry and you're like, I want to eat something, and you can't just whip up, like, your favourite depression meal. Like,
What is your favourite depression meal?
2-minute noodles.
Oh, love it. But I suppose it's also the fault of her father for just hiding her away. Yeah. And being that overly overbearing, not really overbearing, but super controlling in that manner, because he just wants to protect her. Yeah. But she was able to go to university and do the shit herself, so why couldn't she have independently learned how to drive?
And I don't know, I can't remember, I don't know if it said it or if I just can't remember. I don't know what she actually did at college. Because I was like, also, why wouldn't her father just make her go and do, like, a business degree?
Why do I feel like it
I don't think he mentioned it ever.
Yeah, I don't know. Because her major would have been photography if she had a chance, like creative arts. Yeah. And it's like, you're a billionaire, and if you're about to inherit a family business and all the work's going to your husband, you're still going to need to do a hobby or have a hobby. Yeah. Still need to do something, I feel. Yeah, crazy.
Just be a housewife.
Just a housewife. Stay-at-home mum. Yes. Stay-at-home girlfriend. Stay-at-home wife. Stay-at-home dog parent. We're getting too far. But then I think Ali did say to her, like, it would have, the whole life would have been so much easier if he had a son, almost as well, because he would have to teach him everything.
Yeah, very backwards thinking, but still.
Yeah, I don't even know, like, what I know it's like modern world, but like what sort of era modern world? Like there's a
this era.
like
They have like fancy cars and phones and stuff.
sure, yeah. Oh yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, how could you not independently learn how to do things for yourself?
Yeah.
So many resources available to
Yeah.
you.
There's TikTok.
Yeah, it's TikTok. the clock app.
Mm.
Also with Yasmin, Julian noticed this primarily when Yasmin was with Aiden. Like Aiden, I was going to call him Aladdin. He would have all these ideas and tell Yasmin kind of what to do, and she would just like take it and accept it. But with Julian, she bites back a lot of the time. So there's a bit of a juxtaposition between her. Well, to be fair, she sees Julian as like an arsehole.
I think also she sees, like, in a way, she sees Julian as an equal, but she sees like Aiden as like, oh, the guy I love or whatever, so she's beneath him. But so Yasmin needs a little bit of a lesson in standing up for herself, and she's able to do that in front of Julian, but not Aiden, funnily enough. Yeah.
What do we think about Julian?
I love him. I'm on my knees, daddy.
You're gonna crawl to him?
I will crawl to him. I will break myself for him.
What's it about him?
Just the air about him.
Just the charisma.
The way he just goes through life, yeah.
Killing his way to the top.
That's hot.
Greedy motherfucker.
Yeah.
And the whole forcing into marriage, you would do that?
Yeah, hot. Well, and then I just get to go live in his mansion. He looks after me. I have security. I have a car.
Until he kills you for everything you've ever
fine.
owned.
That's fine. He'll fall in love. He'll see the way that I touch myself in the shower and he'll fall in love.
Yeah, it'll change every outlook he has
He'll
on
see
you.
that I can make myself orgasm in DJ 123. Done. Let's talk about when Julian's first interaction with Yasmin and Aiden.
Oh yeah, I was really surprised by that moment, like early on in the book as well.
Same.
Bit of voyeurism.
Yeah,
love to see it.
Yeah, so Aiden and Yasmin are hooking up, and Aiden's going to Munchtown. Aiden, oh my god.
Where's Aylin when you need her? Get your cousin in check.
Sorry. Going to Munchtown, and Julian is like looking.
He's
like
walking
peeping.
past.
He's walking past, and he hears the moans.
Yes, and he's like,
yeah,
I
so
like
he
this.
Cracks open the door a little bit.
And he sees Yasmin in such a vulnerable state.
Yeah, and makes eye contact, and then she comes from the eye contact.
And he's touching himself.
Yeah, and he's touching himself. He's palming his cock through his pants.
But he was so close to whipping it out though, Kenzie.
Yeah, and he was so close to just walking in and taking over.
Could you imagine an actual situation where that happens, where another guy is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Because he thought about that, because he was like watching Aiden's form.
Yeah.
And he's like,
that is a boy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a man.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Goddamn. But yes, that was the scandalous aspect to the book.
Yes.
Which, yeah, pretty interesting early on.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And from that moment, he's in love.
Yes. but he wants to murder her.
Yeah. That's fine.
And so, yeah, Yasmin's worried about how Julian might blackmail this information to use against her.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, his ultimate goal is to somehow, attain sultans while Ali is on his deathbed. And because, being the right-hand man, he feels like he's entitled to owning that business.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, blackmailing Yasmin would have compromised her position as sorts as a daughter, I guess. Making her unable to run the company or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, Aiden's nickname for her is Princess.
Yes.
For a second, I forgot that they weren't actually, like, royalty.
Yeah.
I was like, since when?
And Julian's is Gattina, which is kitten in Italian.
Ooh, I hadn't had a chance to look it up.
Because Jafar calls her Pussycat in the movie.
Oh. I haven't seen Aladdin for a long time, though.
And he likes to be called Patatino, or Patatina, which is little potato.
Little potato. She gets kitten, he gets little potato.
Yeah.
So
spud.
Such a spud. I can't believe you looked that up.
I saw it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We get it.
But also, I know Italian, so.
Oh, we love that.
My 1 year of Italian.
Came through today, baby. And then, that pretty much kicks off the entire book. And it establishes the type of relationship Yasmin and Aiden have.
Anyway, so Julian
Yeah.
uses this to his advantage.
Yep.
And he is... So Ali is setting up these, like, dinner meetings with potential suitors
Yes.
for Yasmin. And they're all just pretty awful guys who kind of just want to fuck her.
Yeah. And, Julian ends up killing a couple of them.
Yeah,
as
Julian
well.
kills him, which is fine. And then he's like, hey, if I marry her, then I get sultans.
Yes, and then he'll just has to kill her, and then it'll all be his.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, so he comes up with the plan. He's like, we need to pretend to be in love and blah, blah, blah. And that's what they do, and they get caught by Ali, and they're like, he's like, what is this? And they're like, we're in love.
Yeah, no, like, I thought they were going to take more time
Yeah.
to act around being in love, but the fact that, you know, they just came up with the plan, Ali left the room, he comes back, and he catches them in that sort of, like, vulnerable position.
Yeah, because Julian always grabs, like, her chin.
Yeah, or a cheek and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, they could try and convince him that they're together. And he's, like, a little bit disappointed because how could he be so blind and see the two people most closest to them are, are in love and all that type of stuff. It was so bizarre. But I suppose he could be a little bit delulu because of his dying condition.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to the mother? Mother died as well, or did she just fuck off for Yasmin?
I think she died.
That's a shame. I completely forgot about that. Oh, yeah, because I think Ali says that Yasmin reminds her of her mother all the time, which is cute. And the only thing in Julian's way is Aiden. So he hires Aiden as a part of his excavation, I guess, team in Egypt to find this lost lamp relic.
Yeah.
And yeah, Julian has a couple of other workers with him. He has Ian, which is, I forget what the bird's name. Iago, there we go. And Gianni or whatever, lead archaeologist in Egypt. And so that's where Aiden and Jeannie kind of pair up, which is nice.
Yep.
And so he's off in Egypt, fucking about, trying to find this lamp. All the while, Julian and Yasmin are, trying to be in love, and they elope, like, immediately essentially.
Yes.
Because he's trying to progress his plan further because Ali is at a point where they don't know how long he has left to live, but it's 2 months-ish.
And he's also like, you need to go home and pack because you're moving into my house.
because it is expected of my wife to live with me.
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, that's fair enough. But then at that point, she's just a slave to him, essentially. Like, we know you love this sort of situations, Kenzie. I'm surprised you didn't even chain her to the house at this point either. Because there was a moment where, I don't know, it could have been just a description, like the metaphor of her having chains wrapped around her wrist. But I read it and I thought, is she actually chained up to the house?
No. I think it was, just like in title only, again, like scenarios.
Yeah. And all the while, Julian has made up, like, a will for Yasmin and faked her signature and to leave everything to him.
I thought that was going to play a bigger role.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was almost going to happen, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose at the end of the book, everything kind of came to the conclusion relatively quickly.
Yeah.
And like, it was like 330 odd ebook pages, or even 340 ebook pages. So like, it's not a lot. But I suppose you need the time, you need to have that structure of story development and then the relationship aspect and then everything else and then conclusion. And at the same time, Yasmin is trying to contact Aiden and be like, look, this is what's happening, keeping him updated. Like, I had to marry Julian, XYZ reasons. Yeah. And Aiden's not responding. Like, they kind of ghost each other sometimes, but then they'll text each other.
Yeah.
Updated. Yasmin has a best friend named Ria, who is kind of aware of all this happenings. And Yasmin is trying to find a way to get out of this relationship unscathed, and so she's secretly trying to suss out a lawyer and stuff, and Ria helps her with that.
Yeah. Also, for a best friend though, she tells her nothing.
Yeah. Like, you'd be like telling you every piece
you'd be giving her the play-by-plays.
Yeah. You'd be like, bro, this is what's happening. Help me.
Yeah.
Help me.
Help me.
Exactly. So all the while, Yasmin's trying to fight for her freedom.
Mm-hmm. But then also she is falling in love with Julian.
Yes, because he's doing these things, like, they cause each other...
They do sexy things.
I mean, yeah, they do that. That's not what I was trying to say. They cause each other to, be undone. Like, she hates him because she knows how greedy and selfish he is. And he thinks she's just a spoiled brat who's never done anything for herself, which is never done anything for herself. It's kind of true, but not her fault, essentially. So, but yeah, so they have their issues with each other, but ultimately they can't see past it. Julian's constantly talking about how he can't keep his control around her because, he needs to stick to the plan.
Yeah.
And Yasmin's just like, maybe he's not a bad guy after all. He's just misunderstood. He's just been abused. Therefore, I should feel sorry for him.
Yeah, his dad would beat up his mum, so then his mum would come and beat up Julian.
Yeah, because,
That's like her way of controlling the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even, I think it was because Julian eventually tells a story about he had a teddy bear.
Yeah.
And the reason why his father would beat his mother up is because he would think she is treating him like a girl or something like that. Is that very outdated?
I don't think that was the reason he was doing it.
Oh, no,
I
not
think
just-
like he
not a
was
sole
just
reason,
an
but-
asshole.
Yeah, but it was really
Yeah.
abusive. But like
That
he
was
took,
like a trigger for him.
Yeah,
he
'cause
wanted like
he's-
a son.
yeah, because he's like, you're not, like treating him properly like a son, or
Yeah.
you're not dressing him properly, or you're not doing this, you're not doing right. Not that it was like an extreme sort of like dress up in like girl clothes or anything like
Yeah.
that, but yeah, he's just a very skewed view as to how Julian's mother was raising him.
Yeah.
And so yeah, his father would take it out on her, and then yeah, in turn, she took it out on him.
Yeah.
But then there was also a moment where, like, when he was a kid, he would try and protect her
Yeah.
from him. I suppose ultimately it would
because
protect
he-
him. That's right.
Because he went in
Yeah.
and pretended to be asleep. Because like the dad wasn't hurting him.
No.
It was the mum. So yeah, the dad's like, well, okay, I'm not going to hurt him too.
It's just a very vicious cycle of
Yeah.
violence.
But also, his mum is also a pathological liar because
Yeah.
she like tells him that she's dying and stuff, and she's not.
And she's been dying for a very long time.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So she uses it to kind of guilt him into having a relationship with her, and he has a very like off-touch sort of relationship with her.
Yeah.
And he calls her every now and then, although he provides her with care and stuff.
Yeah.
Because she must be unwell to an extent, but not to the extent where she's going to die tomorrow or anything like that. Or she doesn't have as a viable sickness as Ali does.
Yeah. I think
In
she has a
comparison.
mental sickness.
Oh, of course, yeah, mental
Yeah.
sickness.
Yeah.
And like she's just tucked away in a little mansion somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's fun. And yeah, eventually Julian opens up to Yasmin about that. Because he has tattoos on his body as well.
Mm.
And he has a lot of tattoos that represents the different people he's killed. And he has a big snake going up his arm and
Yeah.
around his shoulder blade. And that I assume that's to represent his father that he
Yeah,
killed.
when he killed his father, yeah.
So that was fun. And then, yeah, throughout the relationship, like, Julian tries to teach Yasmin how to drive, which
Mhm.
is cute.
Cute.
Except they do that whole thing where, like, they're in the parking lot and then the cop pulls up and the
Yeah.
cop's thinking that Yasmin's, like, in danger. Kidnapped because of the age discrepancy,
Yeah.
clearly. But the cop ultimately was a bit seedy. And, yeah, it is implied he just wanted to fuck her as well.
Yeah. So
Poor Yasmin, she's just an object to these
Yeah.
men.
So Julian killed him.
He does. Hot.
Hot.
He fought for her honor. He protected
Yeah.
her dignity. We love
Yeah.
that. But yeah, and Yasmin, what makes it so difficult for her to try and get out of this situation anyway is because, she believes that Julian has the cops everywhere in New York in his pocket because he is that underground, underbelly lord of all these criminal activities.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point in the book, though, Yasmin is genuinely like falling for him and is like, I'm here because I want to be here, bitch. And yeah, all right. So yeah, they do some sexy time. How'd you find the sexy times?
Good.
Good.
And
Delicious.
and so they're doing like sex times or whatever, but they're not having sex. They're just like doing other things. And then she's like, "Oh, fuck me or whatever." And
yeah.
he's like, "Tell me
You're mine.
you're mine."
Yeah.
And she can't. So he just gets up and walks away.
Yeah, it's a lot of, I guess, more intense foreplay as opposed
But
to
then
actual
also,
fucking.
I'm like, no, I respect that because he's like, I'm not gonna have sex with her if she's still like in love with someone else. Like,
Yeah, but in that situation, he's also thinking about having to kill her anyway. So like,
Yeah.
he's being
I
completely
think
dishonest.
he's beyond that at that point.
Sure.
Yeah, well,
sure.
especially because it's just before Egypt, and then he's like, "I'm going to Egypt. I want you to come with me."
Yeah.
So then they're on a
But-
private plane.
But then he said, like, you can go see your dad, and if your dad
Yeah.
tells you to stay, then it's all
Stay,
good.
yeah.
Stay. Yeah, he's being very lenient towards her because she's his little pet at this point,
Yeah.
and he says jump, she says how high, so she's really trying to,
Yeah.
and she's trying to keep this whole lawyer thing on the down
Yeah.
low as well.
And she gets a message from an unknown number. It says like, "I work with like Ian in Egypt.
Yeah.
Come to Egypt. Like, I have something to help you or whatever."
Oh yeah. And before this trip, the reason why I was going to say Jafar, Julian took the trip is because something seems up
With Ian.
with Ian because he's being really antsy. He's
Yeah.
being very abrasive in how he's talking about Yasmin, calling her like a bitch and all that type of stuff. And at that point, Julian's like, she's not a bitch. He's really impatient. That's the word I was looking for about this whole killing her process and taking the money. And so, yeah, Julian is sus.
And
And
he also seems to be like getting closer with Aiden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also there is this beef with another guy in the diamond industry, Darren.
Yeah.
I don't know what his last name is, don't care. Old mate Darren, they're on his turf and they want a meeting. Imagine having turf. Oh, I suppose you have areas where you want to mine and
Where
stuff.
you're mining, yeah. And you have like established like sites.
Yeah, sure. But especially if it's like under the table type sites, you don't want to mess with any of the other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a trip to Egypt.
They go to Egypt, yep. And they're on the plane, and then they do sexy time again. And then again, he's
Was it? No, it wasn't proper sexy. I was just thinking whether or not it was proper sexy time.
No, not yet.
Yeah, because she's not his.
Yeah, because again, he's like, tell me you're mine, and she can't do it.
Damn, he's being cock-blocked by her feelings.
Yeah. But they get off the plane, and then, I don't know, they're doing something, and she says, she whispers to him, she's like, you silly man, like, don't you realise I'm yours?
Yeah.
And he's like...
Just explodes.
And he's like, no, she's only doing it because, like, she wants it, or whatever, like, she doesn't actually mean it.
Yeah, it's a weird sort of power play happening here as well, because, she's very submissive to what he says.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with a lot of these books. I understand it's like a dual POV situation, but it seems like in these, like, sexual encounters, it's always the man... in this series so far has all the control and power, and it's like, let's switch it up, please.
Yeah. So then they get to the compound, and Yasmin and Aiden are like having a chat or whatever, and then she's like I'm in love with Julian, and then he's realised it as well, and he's like, tell me we still have a chance or whatever, and she's like, I can't, like, and then he kisses her, but Julian walks in on this.
We love this trope, don't we?
I know, and he's just like, I should have known, like, blah blah blah, whatever. And he storms off.
No, but in his perspective, he actually saw that she was fighting him off, so like he doesn't jump to that conclusion, which is really good.
Yeah, she's like, no shit, like, I saw her like push him away.
He just walks off pissed off,
and he walks off, and then she walks after him, and she's like, you, like, essentially, you fucking idiot, like, why you don't get to walk off without like giving me a chance to explain what happened, like, blah blah blah. And then she's just like, I'm yours, like, I love you, you idiot.
Yeah,
like,
and they have sex somewhere again.
Yeah.
And also Jeannie, the lead archaeologist, is very, even prior to this trip, has been very antsy about and anxious about the situation, because at that point we all knew she found the lamp, because it translates well from the cartoon animation. Before they leave Egypt, she finds Yasmin taking a stroll or something like that, and she hands her the lamp, being like, you have to look after this is yours, this is for your freedom, because she turns out to be that unknown
like, he's
number.
gonna kill you.
And Yasmin's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go back home, because Julian pretty much assumes that, like, they can't find the lamp. They're causing inadvertent issues with this Darren guy, so he's going to close the entire compound and just go home, call it quits, which is reasonable, because all he wants to do is, I guess, be with Yasmin now, in a way. So they go back home.
That's where Yasmin finds her fake will.
Yeah, for sure, because there was a little bit of, like, semi-motif, I guess, I don't know, of her, because the mansion is fucking huge, apparently, so she spends a lot of time trying to find different places and nooks and crannies, and she struggled to find his room, but in this moment she obviously finds his office. And finds, I forget what she was looking for, because it was something specific.
I think she was just looking for a pen or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And so she finds a fake will, and then, it's all coming back to her, Jeannie, saying they're trying to kill you, don't trust them, and all that type of stuff. And so she is frightened and upset and scared, because obviously, like, what would you do if you found out someone was trying to conspire to kill you?
Yeah.
But, and at that point, while that's happening, we learn about it later, but Julian has actually went to a lawyer to file, like, a prenuptial thing to show that all her assets are hers alone, which is good. Get a prenup.
Yeah. Come on.
Protect yourself.
We didn't.
What would you say?
We didn't.
Oh, you didn't. Kenzie, there's still time. I think.
It's very different here than in America when you divorce.
Yeah, I know. But, like, hey, it's like a little bit of a self-insurance almost.
Yeah.
Like, you protect what you came in with.
I'm also not an heiress, so.
That's fair. Why not, Kenzie?
Anyway.
Not yet. I mean, where your mother's going. So, we don't know that Julian was doing that, because this was all happening in Yasmin's point of view. Yasmin encounters Ian. Ian is
bonked over the head.
Yeah, well, initially he was looking for Julian, and like, we all knew something was going to happen, because why would Ian be there? Because he's getting antsy, he's impatient. And she's like, why are you here? He's like, I'm here to see Julian. Julian's out. It's fair enough. And then it gets bonked over the head by a vase.
Yeah.
Vase.
And then Julian comes back to the house, can't find Yasmin, and then he sees, like, the smashed vase.
And he also sees the will on the ground and stuff as well.
And he's like, what the fuck?
And he's like, Ian.
Yeah.
And so he gets a phone call, and it's Ian telling them to meet up somewhere. And they've got Darren there as well, because, like, we don't give a shit about Darren.
Yeah.
But it all turns out that Darren and Ian are working with each other to try and get this lamp, because Ian is sick, I guess, of being told what to do by being the second hand to Julian.
Yes. And he's like, you were just going to kill her, and then you fell in love with her, you idiot, like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He's like, we did this all for nothing.
Exactly. So there's this big confrontation at this warehouse.
Yeah.
Yasmin is there tied up, very reminiscent of Hooked.
Yes.
With Wendy and stuff, like tied up. There's a gun to her head. I think Darren has the gun to her head, and Ian has a gun pointed at old mate Julian. And Julian's like, I have the lamp. Here it is. Just chucks it on the floor.
Yeah. I thought like it was going to be a fake one or something. But
yeah. Because, they were talking about synthetic diamonds.
Yeah.
Why not make a synthetic lamp?
Yeah. But then
That would've
Rhea
been so
and
cool.
Aiden are there as well.
Oh, yeah, because Julian hides them as well.
Yeah. And Rhea gets hurt. And then
we knew there's no high stakes. Everyone lives in this
and then
sort
it's
of situation.
implied that Rhea dies, and then it's implied that Julian dies as well.
Yeah.
So
very
then
heavily.
Aiden takes Yasmin away,
Yeah.
and
To
then
save her.
yeah. But then suddenly he's sus, and this came out of nowhere for me.
There was a moment where he was like dragging her away at the warehouse where he picked something up. I thought it was the lamp, but I didn't realize it was a gun. But yeah, again, you get lost in the story of Yasmin and Julia, and you forget of how the book is going to translate.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously Aladdin is very ambitious and he wants to be rich and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so the same would be said for Aiden.
Yeah.
But,
So Aiden,
yeah.
so Yasmin overhears like Aiden, I think, on the phone to his mum saying like, "I've got the lamp now. Like it's fine. Like we're finally gonna get out of here."
Yeah, and there's something to do with Yasmin as well. I completely forgot
Yeah.
about her involved, what
Yeah.
he plans to do with
And
her.
then he plans to kill her. With the gun.
Does he? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he was just gonna kill her.
right.
But
Fuck.
then
Jesus.
she kills him.
Yeah, they should have a bit of a tussle, I think. And
Yeah.
yeah, she shoots him in the chest.
Yeah, and she
But
gets
it's like that moment where he wanted to shoot her, but she gets the gun and he's like, all right, calm
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
bitch.
yeah.
We can talk about this.
Yeah.
I hate it when villains turn around like
Yeah.
that. It's like, oh.
and then
irritates
so
me.
she goes back to Julian's house, and then Julian and Rhea are there.
Finds
It's
out they're
like, oh my
alive.
God. Yeah.
Yeah, Yasmin was being taken away by Aiden. They heard a gunshot. Who knows what would
Yeah.
have happened there?
Yeah.
3 possible outcomes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't go into full explanation as to how Julian survived,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is assumed Darren is injured.
Yeah.
Darren and Ian are injured, and he plans to kill them.
Yeah.
And obviously, Isabella would eventually eat them.
Yeah.
Which we love that.
And then also Yasmin's like, I need help cleaning up Aiden.
Oh yeah, and he's like, I'll just send Isabella.
Yeah.
Isabella would nom. I'm just imagining a 23-foot snake and just having a human body just being digested. It is
Yummy.
so gross. Far out. And it isn't like a dark fantasy book where we have an epilogue as well.
Yes.
I forget what the epilogue is about. I feel like they get married for real or something, or I don't know, they
No?
have a mansion or something. I don't know. Hang on.
I was also very tired when I was reading it.
Yeah, I just had a really big reading streak or reading session as I was, finishing it. And
Oh, he built her a dark room.
oh yeah, that's right, in
Yeah.
his mansion,
Yeah.
because all she ever wanted to do was like to pursue
And then
photography.
they're like, she grins, pressing her lips against mine one more time to a new world, our new world.
Yeah, I love the motifs of like Ali's last wish as well. Oh yeah, he inevitably dies as well. Does he? Yes, yeah, he does. And that's, I think, must have been as soon as they got back from Egypt as well.
Yeah, he was waiting for her to get back, essentially.
Yeah, holding on to her.
Yeah.
Rip. Oh, and Julian and Yasmin visit his mother. They have like a family dinner, lunch situation, and she is an absolute bitch, so they leave. And then, that's when Julian opens up about his childhood. Doesn't say much about his laundry cleaning business or his cleaning business. Like, that was just like a one and done.
Yeah.
Left. Who cares? But yeah, I loved the last night line, like a whole new world, of course. And like the last wish and all that.
Yeah.
A lot of little nuggets that brings us back to the original animation movie. But no, I enjoyed it. Other than, the fact that the last part was hooked to a T.
Alright, shall we go to the stars that listen?
Stars that listen. For those who are new, this is a relatively new segment, and we're just reading a 1-star review each and a 5-star review from Goodreads, just for a bit of extra fun. We haven't looked too far into Goodreads, so you could probably find these on your own accord if need be.
You
But,
can do yours first if you'd like.
Yeah, we're going to start with the 1-star reviews because we want to end on a positive note. Alrighty, this person says for their 1-star review, when I first saw this book, I thought it would be interesting because it retells the story of Aladdin, which I assumed was the Disney adaptation. However, I couldn't connect to the book or the characters. I felt I needed to read the original adaptation to understand the story. The book may appeal to certain audiences, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I feel like they did not read the little disclaimer that it's not a retelling.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's on them. But that's, I mean, it's hard. it would be hard to connect to these characters because in the book world, everybody's fucking rich and no issues.
Shall I do my
Sure.
1 star? Not everyone can write, and that's okay.
Oh my god, what the fuck? That is harsh. Sheesh. Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Alright, my 5-star review. Slow burn, great read. Emily McIntyre does it again with another great installment to the Never After series. The subtle references to the fairy tale classic are a cute nod to what can be described as a slow burn, which is anything but cute. Twisted has some twists until the very end, keeping you turning the pages as fast as possible. I agree with that, in a way, yeah.
Mine is Emily did her thing again. That's all.
Jeez, what is with you and these like 1-2 word sentences? And damn.
I just like the short and sweet
Yeah,
ones.
I know. It's hard. You don't want to read the thesis, but it's hard. 80% of them are one-liners or 2 sentences as well. But yeah, love that. And that concludes this episode of Letterboxd Book Club.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
As always, find us on Instagram, letterbox_book_club.
Link in the bio.
Link is in the bio. That will take you to our link tree where you'll find us in all the places.
Yes. And if you're following along at home, check us out next week for Wretched or Wretched. I don't know how the fuck we're meant to say this. It is technically the 3rd book in the Never After series, but we're reading it next week.
We've already done 3.
But the order is Hooked. If it's in like release order, yeah, stuff.
Hooked, twisted, wretched, scarred.
Yeah. Oh no, Hooked, Scarred, Wretched, Twisted. But yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's the Wizard of Oz retelling.
Whoop, whoop.
I, for whatever reason, thought it was Alice in Wonderland. I was never keen on Alice in Wonderland, and I never was that keen on Wizard of Oz, so this should be interesting. I mean, we had a quick chat the other night about how we thought the villain aspect was going to play out. Like, was it going to be the witches? Was it going to be the wizards? Etc., etc. Anyway, we'll see how we go.
Yes.
So check us out next week. And also, there's going to be a Hunchback of Notre Dame retelling coming out in August. So, I'm so keen for that.
Stay tuned for that
Stay
one,
tuned.
boys.
Keep your ears out.
Keep your ears and your butts open.
Okay, I don't think the butts were necessary. Alright, and with that, we'll catch you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.